It's a beautiful Monday morning, and of course, I do welcome you to our breakfast program right here on Independent Television, where we get to take a holistic look into Nigeria's ever-evolving political and social landscape, bringing to the limelight all of the issues that really matter and all of the discourse and conversations as relates to these issues. I am Chukwufumnanya Digwe, and of course, I am going to be leading the conversation right here in our Benin Network Center. Just so you bear in mind, we have our 3 network centers on the standby to bring you an in-depth analysis to this ever-evolving landscape right there in Abuja and also in Lagos. Here in Benin, we get to delve into the issues that matter. Of course, I have with me the ever-radiant and beautiful Confidence Ufot joining me to, spearhead this conversation. Good morning to you, Radiance Confidence.
Good morning, Chukwufumnanya. Trust your weekend was okay.
It was, and yours?
Beautiful.
All right, it's good to have you. I'm pretty sure you're powered up to, talk about the stuff that matter right here in Nigeria and even internationally.
I am.
All right, very, very well. So I think one of the things that has rocked the Nigerian political landscape over the weekend per time is the just concluded Anambra State governorship election. And just to let you know, I have Joseph Kadiri from our Abuja Network Center and also Mercilina Unkwo. They're standing by right here to join the conversation this morning on ITV. Good morning to you, Joseph Kadiri.
Yeah, very good morning to you. Marcelina, good morning to you, Chukwufumnanya. Abuja is cool and calm this morning. Everyone is going about his or her business, believing that the issue of insecurity should be a thing of the past, especially the recent position of the U.S., which has got both traditional religious leaders and, of course, political leaders running from pillar to post on how to dispel the concern of the U.S. and, of course, to also push some narrative. We saw yesterday when the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs came up with that press briefing, clearly speaking against the decision that there are some pockets of genocide against Christians in Nigeria. They believe it's not happening. They believe is, a plan or plot by some section of the media, politicians, and some, Western allies to, destabilize Nigerians. But if you look at it, and what actually led to it is the fact that a certain pastor, when he was condemned, did to the U.S. president to come as
Well, we've got some technical glitches right there on the Abuja end. Let's switch to Mercilina. Mercilina, good morning.
Good morning, Chukwufumnanya. Good morning, Kadri from Abuja. It's a beautiful morning here in Lagos. I mean, a beautiful morning, Monday morning. And also, it's a beautiful weather. And of course, I'm not here alone. Patricia Gebres is here with me. Patricia, good morning.
Good morning, Mercilina. You look so pretty this morning.
Thank you. You look good as well.
Thank
and
you.
Also, Chukwufumnanya in Benin City. You guys look amazing this morning. All right. This beautiful morning from Lagos, of course, we are talking about the just concluded
Well, it seems we are experiencing some technical glitches, which we do apologize for. We get to connect with Joseph Kadiri and also Mercilina later on. However, I have with me Confidence, and we get to talk a little about everything that's been rocking the Nigerian political landscape per time. And one thing that has peaked the landscape recently is the just concluded Anambra polls. I mean, slated for the 8th of November 2025. On Saturday, we got to see Anambra voters go out to exercise their franchise. And also, we got to hear the results that the incumbent, is actually now the returning governor. What's your take on all of this? And, what do you really see has played out in the electoral process in Anambra State?
I would say that as a country, Nigeria, we have a recurrent process. Like you have people going and coming back. It's been a thing. We're not doing inclusive, should I say, electoral process, right? I hear now that we want to do 30%, they want to include youth 30% into the electoral process. I'm very excited, even though I know, let me not say I know, I don't know what to expect, but if I want to go by the history of my country, we'll barely enjoy 5%. Right. But I know that, youth being included in the electoral process, I know that even that 5% will go a long way if they will actually give 5% a chance. What am I trying to say? The person on set has served before. We have new people.
But at least he's not from the APC, because there's this narrative right now that, especially with how, should I say, plagued we are with the whole defection, matter. There's a lot of people saying that the APC is trying to assert dominance on Nigeria's political space, which kind of erodes the trust in Nigerian democracy. But we've seen Charles Soludo, who is actually an APGA, governor, coming for a second term. Doesn't that spell well for democracy in Nigeria, especially with the appointment of the new INEC chairman, Joash Amupiton?
You know what they say? You can't generalize when the effect is coming from just 1%.
Okay.
It's more like a very first time in a long time.
But at least, don't you think we should give them accolades? Because
they deserve it.
Even international observers have come out to say, it was a good one. Let's see if there's going to be court battles this time, or they are going to accept, the verdict of, the.
Why do I feel like you already know what it's going to be?
It's something that we've seen over time.
Yeah.
They go on to the polls. We go to the polls as the electorate in Nigeria, and then we see recurrent court battles. So I don't know. This time it seems a little different. Everyone seems happy. We've seen on social media people rejoicing that the Anambra State governor is coming for a second term, and people even hailing Joash Amupiton. We've also seen the presidential statements of which President Tinubu congratulates the APGA governor, I would say, Charles Soludo. So maybe that is cheering news.
I want to say that it's a welcome development here, but would it last? That's another thing. Would it last? Because we've been in a situation where we accepted, we are very happy with what happened with the whole process and the results. And before you sleep and wake up, there's a court case and they said something was not right somewhere. So let's just assume that this one would be a long-lasting joy.
All right, let's assume that definitely it will be long-lasting joy. You're still tuned into This Morning on ITV, where we get to delve into the conversations that have taken our political and social landscape by a storm. We'll take a short break, after which we'll take our newspaper review segment, where we get to see what is really going on in the country and what the headlines are saying. Stay with us.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
All right, welcome to the newspaper review segment on This Morning on ITV. As you know, we get to look at the country's dailies and get to know what the papers are saying. So let's take a quick start with The Guardian newspaper, or rather, as you can see, Daily Trust is the paper we have on the screen right now. Daily Trust headlines there. Genocide claim. FG silence on Amupitan's legal brief. Also on Daily Trust newspaper right there, a headline you get to see is Anambra LP ADC candidates reject results as Soludo re-elected. Also on Daily Trust newspaper, Trump threats stock market loss hits 2.8 trillion naira. Also on Daily Trust newspaper, protests in Kogi community over bandits attacks. Now, those are the stories on Daily Trust newspaper. Let's move on to our next newspaper right there.
On our very next paper, we'll be looking at The Guardian. The first story on The Guardian says, Soludo triumphs in Anambra as ADC. Observers decry vote buying. On that,
so moving on to the next story right there on The Guardian newspaper. Soludo triumphs. Okay, yes, she did already take that story. Also there, Olawumi warns against violations of traditions and customary laws. You get to see that on page 5. Also on The Guardian newspaper, a recurrent story you get to see there is Trump's comment threatens national unity. NSCIA warns demand retraction. That story is on page 6. And on the Anambra polls, on The Guardian newspaper, you see Serap Booth Party urge INEC to prosecute vote buyers. And those are some of the stories on The Guardian newspaper. Let's move on to our next point of call for our newspaper review segments this morning. You get to see Vanguard newspaper. How Soludo's tsunami swept all 21 local government areas. Yes, this is something that has, rocked the Nigerian political landscape over the weekend, and it's still very trendy this morning. Soludo sweeping the 21 local government areas in Anambra State. Also on the Vanguard newspaper, you see Governor hails INEC, security agencies. Poll records best turnout in 20 years. That's in Anambra State. Candidates, stakeholders, FET government. Winners and losers. Serap wants sponsors of vote buying probed. Prosecuted. Anambra Rec dismisses claims of vote buying. Tinubu congratulates winner. Says his re-elections affirms visionary leadership. Also on Vanguard newspaper, major headline you get to see there is federal government exceeds 2025 borrowing target by 55.6%, expected to hit 80% by year end. Now that is one story that you need to look out for, rocking the economic landscape of Nigeria. Also on the Vanguard newspaper, a major headline there, UK warns against travel to 6 states in Nigeria. You get to see that story on page 9. Also on the Vanguard newspaper, US watch list, Nigeria not in religious war, and that is propagated by NSCIA. Those are the stories that you need to look out for on the Vanguard newspaper. Let's see our next national daily, which we'll be looking at this morning. You get to see New Telegraph.
For the very next story, we have Soludo re-elected Anambra governor with 66,004 votes. INEC declares. On the next story, NNPCL orders reduce fuel pump price, and that you find a story on page 25. And the very next story on that same paper says BBC DG News CEO resign over Trump's documentary edit. That you find on page 5. And the next story you have federal government condemns sabotage on Abuja Kaduna Kano Road. That you
Next point of call this morning on our newspaper review segment, you get to see Nature News. A major headline on Nature News there says, Africa leads as UN COP30 climate summit kicks off in Belém, Brazil. That's that story on Nature News. Another story, there is deforestation worsens. West Africa's water crisis threatens 122 million people, study shows. Also on Nature News, you see UN chief to world leaders, act now or face climate ruin. You get to get a grasp on that story on page 15 of Nature News. Also on Nature News, climate change, fertilizer misuse, depleting soil carbon, ICA warns. That is seen on page 6. Also, all of these stories on Nature News. Let's get to see our final point of call this morning on the newspaper review segment on this morning on ITV. The Punch newspaper, a major headline right there is PDP crisis. 3,000 delegates set for high-stakes convention. Makinde, Wike camps trade blows as delegates gear up for convention. Let's get to see over time what it tells for the PDP. You know, we've been expecting this convention with all of the brouhaha surrounding it. Let's get to see what really happens per time. Also on the Punch newspaper, you see crude oil revenue plunges by 43%. That one is on page 33. Also on page 8, you see drugs. Regina Woko in fresh bitter showdown. Also on the Punch newspaper on page 2, Soludo's Anambra win sparks political storm. These are some of the stories on the Punch newspaper, which when you grab your copy, you get to digest and really delve into the story. And here is where we call it a wrap on the newspaper review segment on TMI this morning. One thing we got to see recurring over the papers is the alleged genocide by the president of the United States, Christian genocide, actually, how he says Christians are being killed in Nigeria. You got to see it stamped over different national dailies this morning. Also, the just contested Anambra polls in which Charles Soludo, the incumbent, is now the returning governor of Anambra State. Yes, that saw most of the national dailies this morning. So that is really the point of conversation. And just so you know, we'll be delving into the stories right here on This Morning on ITV with all our network centers on board to give you an in-depth analysis on these stories. We'll take a short break now, after which we'll commence our discussion segments. Don't go anywhere.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
Welcome once again, but this time to the discussion segment on TMI on ITV, where of course we get to really take an holistic analysis into the happenings in our society right here in Nigeria and also internationally. Now, today on the program, we examine Nigeria's overlapping conflicts from long-standing, long-term and recurrent farmer herder massacres to insurgency by groups such as Boko Haram, ISWAP, and a narrative, accusations of a so-called Fulani oligarchy, you know, dominating and threatening national balance. We're going to take a look and unpack what is proven, what is just a political narrative. And of course, we're also going to analyze whether it is marrying to solutions to claim that these attacks and these insurgencies that have gone on in Nigeria, you know, over time are religious based or motivated, or whether they are a sort of ethnic takeover. We're going to get to see whether it is true to look at this, or it is a kind of mass situation. And with me to talk about this, I have a public affairs analyst standing by on Zoom, the person of Wadiai Odige. He is going to talk with me about these issues and also, you know, get to look at the threats on the U.S. president, or by the U.S. President Donald Trump, about international interference. We're going to talk about this morning with him. I guess I have him standing by on Zoom. Good morning, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Is it at your end?
Well, we are doing okay here. I just have a stuffy nose, headache, and sore throat. But anyway, we'll discuss what we are here for. So, should I continue?
Please go on. The issue of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, coming on board to say there is a Christian genocide going on right now in Nigeria. However, there are people that say otherwise. You know, we just saw the Supreme Islamic Community come out to say, no, climate change, farmer herder clashes and all of that are the reasons why we have these unrests in Nigeria. But what's your take on this whole issue that's rocking the social and political landscape of Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. This issue of the terrorists and the Middle Belt, it has been going on for the past 20 years. And we have been discussing it over and over and over. And recently, the President of the United States of America added his voice. And that is why most people are now taking it seriously. And first and foremost, there is nothing like farmers' headache crisis. It was coined by the federal government of Nigeria. And when you look at what is going on in Nigeria, from northeast to northwest to south, there's a particular ethnic group, the Fulanis. The Fulanis, they have become a political and economic liability in Nigeria. They came into this country over 200 years ago with a mindset and a script that was written for them by Madam Fodio. If you may remember, during the independence, the then Sultan of Sokoto said that the North or the Fulanis, they are going to take Islam deep to the Atlantic Ocean. Deep to the Atlantic Ocean. You must read between the lines. And that is what they have been doing ever since. Unfortunately, they have dominated us. All the atrocities and the setback in Nigeria. It's as a result of the Fulanis. We need to call a spade a spade. Now, they are killing the Middle Belt. After that, what do you think is going to happen next? They're going to come to South. So, the script, they see us as infidels. They preach violence. They tell their people or the infidels, if they kill the infidels, they will get to paradise in heaven. It's enough. And what are they saying? When Donald Trump made this statement, most of the northern emirs, the political heavyweights, what did they say? That they are our people. We should not kill them. They are our brothers. They are our sisters. And they are our fathers. That we should protect them, to protect, army terrorists. What are the people that they are killing? Are they not our brothers? Are they not our uncles? Are they not our children? Enough is enough. We should address the issue that was raised by, Donald Trump. The federal government is complicit in this whole arrangement. Should we continue in this manner? When we get, should we continue? The next civil war will be different from the one that we had in 1967. Nigeria needs to sit up and we need to address this issue once and for all. There is no way I can, sometime in 1997, when Marari became the NPN presidential candidate, do you know what the Northern Elder said? most especially the Southern Sokoto. He said the man is not northern enough, that they should drop him. And that was why they brought Shehu Shagari, an unknown quantity.
If I get you correctly, you are basically linking the issues we have right now in Nigeria
right now with
to
yes,
the previous Usman Danfodio movement. And although I would like to correct you, you said the next civil war, but by God's grace, you know, and with the strong democracy we have right now, there's not going to be a civil war, and hopefully the Nigerian government can actually resolve the crisis that is at hand, even you know, with should I say international help right now, as we've seen the US president come out to say. But the question that I want to ask you is this: you've talked about this present unrest that we are having currently in Nigeria being linked to the Usman Danfodio movement of 1804 to, I think, 1903. I want to say, I want to ask you, what are the evidences of this, that, you know, a Fulani oligarchy is what is threatening Nigeria's democracy or Nigeria's political landscape? Because you've clearly said that there's been a kind of continuation of the Usman Danfodio movement. So what are your evidences to this? How do you see this, you know, reflecting in the modern day unrest in Nigeria that we've had per time?
Thank you very much. The answer is not far-fetched. The script by Usman Danfodio was to conquer the entire Nigeria. Usman Danfodio was stopped in Lokoja by Lord Lugard. He was stopped. An agreement was made for them to stop and accept, you know, the colonial rule. So ever since, if you look at all the emirs, the religious leaders, they are all of Fulani extractions. The only area where they don't have the Fulani emirs are usually within the middle belt Aziks. And that's the more reason they have been trying for more than 20 years to ensure that they create insurgency in that area. They want to take their land so that they can install their own, you know, Sharia law. They have conquered the Hausaks, except, you know, the Kanuriks. It's an obvious fact. And look at the people that they use in all these killings. They are mostly the Amajiriks and the Hausaks. So what they have, and the preaching, just find time to attend one of those Friday sermons or preaching in their mosque. The intelligence report is there. The federal government cannot tell you that they are not aware of it. It's in Nigeria. An emir, or rather a religious leader, will be preaching violence, you know, to his congregation. It's not happening in any other part of the world. So, the script, they are looking at the script.
Thank you very much.
They are emphasizing more on the middle backers.
We want to say thank you for the angle you're coming from. Now I have a question. Away from what is obtainable, concerned Nigerians back home and abroad are saying Trump's interference is not purely because he is concerned. So my question to you is, do you think that Trump is concerned for Nigerians for being concerned sick, or do you think that is coming for resources? Because this is what people are saying on the social media. I want to get from your own angle, what do you think?
Well,
do you think this is a case of Trump being concerned for being concerned, or is coming because of what he stands to get from Nigeria?
No. Trump has nothing to get from Nigeria. You see, this is what we've been saying for many years. It's like a neighbor. You are killing, somebody is killing your child. And you don't have the capacity to withstand that person. Another good Samaritan is telling you, look, I will assist you. Why don't you do the needful and resist the killing of your children? Then why is Nigeria blowing this thing out of proportion? We should not look at the message, we should look at the message. The man said, do the right thing, do the needful. So, Nigerians, who are these Nigerians that are saying it? They are mostly government officials. Now, that is why I said the government is complicit in this whole arrangement. If they came out to tell us that these people, that they should not kill the bandits, it is only in Nigeria where you have what we call repentant terrorists. You absorb them.
Thank you very much, Uwajai.
And you expect the military
Public Affairs Analysis. We're still getting your robust analysis on this issue of, Donald Trump's remarks about retaliatory attacks on insurgents in Nigeria, and also the Boko Haram insurgency, ISWAP, and all of that have threatened security in Nigeria. We're still, going to talk some more about this, and just to promote another leg of our conversation, the digitalization of the RMB, the eCNY coming on board, how is going to shape economy globally. We'll get to talk about that right here on TMI. Meanwhile, we'll take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We still have a lot in store for you. Stay with us.
ITV, certainly the best.
right, welcome back. This is still TMI right here on the ITV network. And just to give you a quick reminder of our conversation, we're talking about Trump's threat of retaliatory action in Nigeria over the insurgents. And we're also, you know, getting to look at how the Boko Haram terrorists, ISWAP terrorists, how it translates to being a continuation of the Usman Dan Fodio movement. Of course, I have my ever insightful guest standing by, Wadai Odige. He is a public affairs analyst. He's been dishing out some very controversial views. But regardless, I'd still like to hear from him. Something that I'd like to ask you, Wadai, is this. Just basically today, we've read on the news, stemming from over the weekend, the Supreme Islamic Council coming out to say these attacks are not targeted at Christians, contrary to what some bystanders, some people might say, some analysts might say, including yourself, that is targeted at Christians or it's a continuation of some movement. You know, this council is coming out to say it's a mix of climate change. They are propounding that the Sahara Desert, the heat is moving southward, causing these herders to encroach into farmers' land. These are what is causing the conflicts. What do you have to say about that and how it contradicts your own notion?
There's nothing like herders, farmers, prices. It was coined by the federal government in order to give, not to project the Fulanings as those responsible for the killings. And the climate change, I don't understand what the climate change has to do with this killing. You see, now they have refused to address the issue. If it's the climate change, why is the climate change not killing the Fulanings?
It's not only not only Christians that are dying. Even if you're not saying the Fulanis, I mean the Fulanis are a small group. You know, yeah, I think that's why the narrative of the oligarchy has come, because you get to see them in some integral, you know, facets of our society. You see them in military, you see them in immigration, but regardless, they are they're a minority ethnic group. But these unrest is stemmed not only in the Christian community. Yes, it's in the Middle Belt, which has a lot of Christians, but regardless, what the government is saying is that it is not targeted at just Christians. It's Christians, Muslims, pagans alike. Although you would like to pull the Fulani in, it's a general, it doesn't focus on one religious group, is what the government is saying.
Okay, whatever coloration you want to give it, we have a law in Nigeria. If you kill, if you murder somebody, the law, you face the consequence. Now, these people have been killing, whether because of whatever, whether they are Christians or non-Christians. They are Nigerians. Tell me one of those Fulanis they have arrested in Nigeria. Just only one. If I kill somebody right now, we'll be arrested. So there's a double standard. So the idea coming up to tell us it is the climate change is ridiculous. It's the most unheard of thing that I've ever, excuse me. So these are the same people that told us that Donald Trump and others cannot come and kill them. They are our brothers. These are the same people that told us that if they repent, absorb them in the military. The privileged ones, and it's creating problem for Nigeria. Let me tell you one thing. You said they are minority. Yes. Do you realize, are you aware that Out of the 19 northern governors, 13 are Fulanis, extractions. And in all the states in the north, all their emirs, religious leaders, they are all Fulanis. Most of the political leaders, economic leaders, they are all Fulanis. So it becomes very difficult for the middle Betacs to do and protect themselves. Because who controls the military? The Fulanis. Who controls politics in Nigeria? The Fulanis. So don't be carried away with the idea, oh, they are just minority. Yes, minority that have been able to stronghold the political life of the Northerners. So the time has come. We were expecting that the president, Bola Tinubu, ought to have addressed the nation. And those that said they cannot touch those terrorists should be arrested. Gumi should be arrested. Are you aware? The president of Miati Allah, terrorist. It's a terrorist organization. You should come and spend the speed. We should not be afraid of anything. And who is the patron of Miati Allah? The Southern of Sokoto. Put me anytime, anywhere.
All right, so would you say you liken, we already know your stance as it is, would you say you liken the 19th century jihad to the insurgency and, the unrest, the conflicts, whatever it might be packaged as in modern times? Will you say you liking this insurgency to the 19th century jihad by Usman Dan Fodio? And if you do, what are the similarities for you?
Well, if you look to Nigeria, they were using violence and to get their convert. And there is what they call the modern day, colonization. I don't want to say Islamization. I will call it colonization. They want to colonize Nigeria. Nigeria is the only country where you will, where one ethnic group will say they are the only religious leaders. It's like in Christianity, you will say it's only somebody from United States of America that will be a pope. Does that make sense? It's unheard of. The Northerners should stop all these, what they are doing, because even in Saudi Arabia, United Emirates, and others, they don't approach, religious ceremony the way we are doing it in Nigeria. And everybody is going, technology. But in Nigeria, we are still using Sharia law. Hizbah started in Zamfara. It has spread to almost all the northern states. It is a gradual process.
I want to ask you, this Christian genocide narrative that has, spanned across a lot of discourses recently, if it isn't true, if truly, there's been insurgency, unrest in Nigeria, as the government says, and it's not targeted at any particular religion, isn't it going to mar solutions. I mean, look at the flip side. What if the government is right? Wouldn't spinning this narrative around mar the solutions that should be brought to bear? I mean, we've seen the international community right now pick Nigeria as a country of particular concern, you know, as said by the US president. But wanting their help, seeing, you know, this play over time, isn't it myopic? Isn't it going to mar solutions if we simply just pick at the fact that it is religiously motivated? What if it isn't? You know, let's look at it from that flip side on your end.
Whether it is religious motivated or not, they are killing Nigerians. I mean, that's the, you know, I mean, the simple truth. They are killing human beings. Must we give it that, you know, I mean, religious, you know, correlation? They are killing human beings, period. Point blank. Be that as it may, the government ought to figure out those who are killing the Nigerians. Who are these murderers? Simple as that. Why are we giving it so it is a religious, did they say, it is, what do you call it, I mean, climate change.
So much, Owadiai Odige, for your very insightful analysis on the program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, right here on This Morning on ITV, we match policy and public debate with clear analysis, actual figures, and, you know, evidence, not just narratives that are being spinned around. And we've got to take a delve into that conversation, the recent threats on Nigeria on terrorists in Nigeria by the U.S. government. And we've also gotten to talk about the insurgency by Boko Haram and ISWAP in Nigeria. Also, knowing if this is just a continuation of the Usman Dan Fodio movement, should we be concerned, and all of that. We still have so much more to talk about on our second leg of our discussion this morning on ITV. Meanwhile, though, we'll take a short break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the program this morning on ITV, of course, on the ITV network. All right, so this morning, on the second leg of our conversation here in our Benin Network Center, we're going to be talking about the digitalization of the RMB. What does this spell for the global economy? What does this say? The introduction of the eCNY, that is the electronic Chinese yuan, into these platforms where you get to see it digitalized as regards to, you know, making transaction cross-border. Something that we've seen over time is the US dollar dominate this space. All right, so we're going to see what that spells for the global economy, what that also spells for Nigeria and just everybody at large. And with me to talk about that, I have Dr. Osaze Iyoha, who is a development analysis, economist, pardon, a development economist, and he joins us virtually from Canada. Good morning to you, Dr. Osaze. It's very good to have you on the program.
Good morning. It's exciting to join you here too.
Likewise.
I was always, yeah, thanks.
All right, so we've heard about the eCNY, the electronic Chinese yuan, coming into full digitalization, bringing the RMB to the limelight. We've seen that the 10 Asian country, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, come on board on this. What does this spell for the global economy? Could you really, explain this for the layman who is trying to understand what this spells for the global economy?
Yeah, so it's simple. It's just part of economic, the international politics that we have in just international politics. Rift for global dominance. That just summarizes it, and it probably has just been. It's always been there. I think since 2016. That's when China made conscious efforts towards projecting their currency to be able to match international reputation, but I think it just all accentuated. There was just this global awareness, when US now started imposing sanctions on nations like North Korea, Iran, and so on. So, when the American government imposes sanctions on a nation, what it does is that the whole aim is to isolate the nation, isolate that country that sanctions have been imposed upon, so that they sort of strangulate you or twist you, so that you play to whatever they demand they are requesting of you. So it was all China's, should I call it opportunistic, or a way of providing an alternative to avoiding those sanctions, so that those sanctions are not as severe as it's meant to be. And when the American government, or the West generally, and its allies in Europe, when they impose these sanctions, the way it hits the country upon which the sanctions has been imposed, the way it hits you hard, it's when the payment system, because what it does is, as I say, it isolates you from the other nations. And the way the channel through which this works is the SWIFT system. It's a payment system where almost every nation of the world is aligned. It almost sort of reads the entire nation. So whenever there's a transfer of payment, transfer of capital, even financial assets, when there's an exchange, the SWIFT system is the channel through which it takes place. So when you are sanctioned, you are just excommunicated or removed from that system. And that's why you see the ban on Russia during the Russia-Ukraine war. That's what happened. Russia was removed from the SWIFT system or blocked. So what China is just trying to do is provide an alternative, so that when you are blacklisted or sort of blocked from the SWIFT system, there's an alternative route for which payments can be facilitated. So that's where the CNY, the ENY came in, So the Chinese currency, which is the RMB, the renminbi, they now put it on, just like you said, digitalize the currency, digitalize it, so that there is now the digital system, the digital counterpart of their fiat money. So the whole system was digitalized, so that it now became like an improvement on the SWIFT system, which is SWIFT payment system, which is run by the West. And it brought some improvement, as I said. The SWIFT payment system, traditionally, it takes about 3 to 5 days for payments to be facilitated. When, for example, you make payments in Nigeria to someone in US, for example, it will take 3 to 5 days, because what it does is that it goes through each of the financial intermediaries involved in the transaction. So it will go through as the Federal Reserve of America. So these various bus stops in between take time because it has to be verified, and that's why it's a trusted system. So just to put it, even when the Chinese have brought their alternative route, the SWIFT system is still very, very much trusted by most investors and countries because of that time it takes. So the 3 to 5 days causes a little bit waste of time. Why? The Chinese alternative with the brought takes about 7 to 8 seconds. So you see that there's an improvement in the system. Yeah, so the Chinese, the ENY has come, it's just like an alternative. But for me, just to quickly put, it's an alternative to the system, but it's just a power structure America and the West generally, so that whatever, just someone like whatever the West can do, China can do better. That's just the whole
From your conversation, Dr. Osaze, I see that you not only see the global economic implications, you also see more. You've talked about sanctions. One that we can refer to is the sanction digitally that was put on Iran. So do you feel like this is more of the Chinese government asserting a kind of dominance, digitalizing the RMB, that is bringing about the eCNY, as a form of cross-border payments? What is this really going to tell? I mean, even beyond the economic outlook.
Yes, so that's why I said it. So on the face value, it's an economic, China or most economic watchers will tell you that, oh, it's an it's an alternative to the payment system, of which the SWIFT has hitherto been providing. But on being realistic, it's just an economic power sharing. It's just an economic economic share of dominance. Both of China is wanting to drag the economic space, the international space, with China. That's just it, and have their own allies, because China is trying to project itself as a world power. But in being a world power, you don't. It's just like a leader. A leader working alone is not a leader. So they want to have their allies, and in having allies, you have to be very strategic. It's just like in our national politics. The political leaders who are following are those who share money. So China is trying to get as much allies as possible. So to have the allies, if you cannot protect them from the American SWIFT system whenever there's sanction, then you're not a leader. So that's why they are providing this alternative payment system, so that whenever there's sanctions,
Thank you very much, Mr. Osaze, for your all-round analysis. I want to say that's a very broad one. I have a question. So you're saying, from your analysis, what I could depict is that you're saying this is not China in competition with the US. You're saying it's not politics. You're saying they want to improve a means of trading. Yeah. If that's the case, if what I'm thinking is what you're saying, are you saying China is not in competition with the US? Are you saying China is not trying to dominate? They are trying to help the trading system. Is that what you're saying? Just for clarity of those who are thinking that this is China trying to be in the forefront.
No, so it's completely opposite. Value, it's China is providing this alternative ENY system to the SWIFT system. On face value, it is being painted as an improvement, but I'm saying that in reality, it's a competition for power space for the international space. So China is introducing this to compete directly with the American and the West generally. So they are providing this system.
What does this, just as you round off, what does this tell for the Nigerian economy? For Nigerians back home right here, what does this tell for us? The launch of the new digital economy by the Chinese government, that is the eCNY, the electronic Chinese yuan, as you said. What are the implications for Nigeria and Africa?
Yeah, so the implications are straightforward. So China has launched, in projecting this eCNY, what they have done is that they've launched the Belt and Road Initiative, which is just the point I was trying to make, was that they are trying to get allies. In trying to put themselves as an international power, they want to have allies. So they have launched this Belt and Road Initiative, which is trying to put infrastructure. They're trying to link their infrastructure to European countries, the entire Asia and Africa. So what they are doing is that they are launching projects linking China to different countries, and they have invested so far over $1 trillion. And it's projected that in the next 5 years, they will spend as much as $6 trillion. So what are they doing? They're launching projects in different countries, including Nigeria. So they give loans to various countries to set up infrastructure. So all this is meant to create a sort of ally. When they give you these loans, the American government is not doing that. The American has also launched different programs. Under Obama, they launched the Pivot Asia. Under Joe Biden, they launched the BB3W. Trump has launched the Blue Act. So all these it's a contestation for countries like Nigeria, third world nations. So China has done theirs. They are giving loans to all these developing nations. But the worry, answering your question specifically, is that they are giving these loans to these nations. They've been giving loans to Nigeria. They've been funding projects in Nigeria. And that's almost what analysts say, oh, that's probably the reason why Trump is showing an interest in Nigeria, trying to invade Nigeria, because of our alienation to China. And it also has to be said that Nigeria is only one of the only three nations that has used the Chinese currency as part of our foreign reserve. So it's just
Thank
that
you so much,
Dr.
Osaze Iyoha, development economist, for those insightful takes. It's such a pleasure to have had you this morning on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, so as it stands, the digital representation of the renminbi, the RMB, is more than just a technological experiment. It's far beyond that, and we've gotten to take insights on that. And that's the end of our discussion right here from our Benin Network Center. We'll now take a short break before we join our Abuja Network Center for their own point of call. Thank you so much for staying tuned in.
It is the Abuja Network Center where we continue with the program this morning on ITV, and our focus here is at the insecurity plan by the U.S. government to come rescue the situation. And we have seen that since that happened, there are claims and counterclaims. The recent is the one that came from the National Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, when in that present the total is the fact that position of the wave of the plan by the U.S. government to come rescue the situation in Nigeria. And of course, they are acting under the International Religious Act, which says U.S. particularly can delve into any country that has that issues with religious concern and rescue situation.
Yes, you know, this is not the first time that we are experiencing kind of effort to enter by the U.S. government. I think between 2017 to the first 4 years of Donald Trump, he placed Nigeria under country of particular concern with regards to call it religious killing or Christian killing, you know, with regards to this genocide that he has presented. And it was President Joe Biden that came and removed the Nigerian name from that CPC. And here we are in again. You know, I had expected that we should have a very thorough, proactive government and not a responsive government that has issues. And that is what brought us to where we are. To take, for example, sometime this year, over 200 people were killed somewhere in Nasarawa, between Nasarawa and Benue. I mean, yeah, Benue State, but it's just a stone throw to Nasarawa. You understand? And it took our president over 1 week before he was able to visit Makurdi. Getting to Makurdi, even to connect to the community to show solidarity, you know, to restore hope and, you know, give them assurances of fighting for justice. We didn't see that. They started giving us excuses of the road network, the road is bad, and so on and so forth. It goes to show that we don't have a very responsive and responsible government. So it takes a external force, a bully, to push our government to do the right thing. Just as recent as Donald Trump made this comment, we have seen the efforts of the Nigerian government and the security forces. In fact, he has even quickened the appointment of ambassadors. If you can be in government for over 2 years, heading to 3 years, you have not been able to appoint ambassadors. What does it tell about your international diplomatic engagement? So we actually play government, special as with China and the rest, you know, to form an alliance and then to make a very strong statement with regard to what is happening in Gaza Strips between Israel and the Hamas, and their position with regards to what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. You understand? So it's one of those things that made our government to play into U.S., you know, government. And you know that Nigeria is a strategic country, the most populous black nation on earth. You understand? So they believe if they hit Nigeria and they hit it very hard, you know, it will
okay,
send signals.
You know, this is where many people have concern. Some believe the decision by the U.S. government is selfish. Others believe, no, there are evidences on the ground. This, like you mentioned earlier, it happened between Benue and Nasarawa. Over 200 people died. Of course, yes, Mr. President was there. And so when you now look at the evidence...
Was he there? He was in the state capital. He wasn't in the place where
he was in Benue State.
Yes.
He was in Benue State. He went to Benue State.
Yes, but not in the community
he
where
was
the killing took
Benue
place.
State.
It doesn't take anything.
And the reason he went there was to show some kind of solidarity to the people and to the family that...
Targeted to the community.
Yes, yeah, but
go ahead.
He was there. So now when you look at that position that many are holding now, that the U.S. is coming to actually, you know, steal what we have rather than solve the situation, and you just oppose it with the fact that are on ground that yes, some people actually lost their lives at different times.
Kadiri. Let's not even go into that angle. Because these are, you know, when you have a government that is a product of propaganda, it requires more propaganda to sustain it. And that is what we have today. You know, somebody coming to tell us that U.S. is having selfish or ulterior motive coming to steal our resources, you begin to ask yourself, which resources?
But you have heard of it.
Yes. But it's pure propaganda.
Yeah, but we have the resources.
I'm coming. Let me just establish these facts so that it will be on record. Even viewers all over the world will understand it. In Nigeria today, we have, call it one refinery that is known, that is working, and that is Dangote. Those that are propagating those propaganda will not tell that Dangote is being run by U.S. Crude oil. So if they are coming to steal your resources, why wouldn't you be using your crude oil to refine? Why would they be supplying you their crude? The illegal minings that we have in Nigeria today across the bushes that are supporting this insecurity. You cannot go there and say you see, find a U.S. citizen. But what you see, those from Asia, I don't want to mention name. How many are in our prisons? Go to Kuje, go to Suleja. You see them in tens and thousands. Thank God for the kind of job the civil defense are doing. Almost all the mining sites, 80 to 90% of it are being run by the Asians without licenses. Some who try to acquire licenses, their licenses have expired. So when you begin to hear coming to steal resources, you know that it's a pure propaganda. They will begin to mention areas like Afghanistan, Iraq, or what have you. But they will not tell that U.S. government or security missions are in Germany. They're in Poland, they're in Kosovo, they're in Kuwait. Have they still their resources? They are still maintaining those places. They are still rocking and rolling. You can't mention top 10, either in economics or security in the world. You will not mention Germany. But U.S. is in their soil. So let's leave all those propaganda just to paint it, make it look like we against them. You understand? What I see here is bully meet bully. You understand? You get a superior bully. How do I say? In Nigeria today, you can't easily cry peacefully or carry out protests peacefully without being bullied. You can't even do this kind of work we are doing courageously without finding yourself in one issue or the other. Last year, we saw Dele Farotimi being made to have some time in Fela when he was alive. We call it inside ward. This year alone, we know how many times they have drag show. You understand? I can go on and on to mention several people that you can say, okay, they try to have a decent voice.
Yeah, but
you
not,
understand?
But not to the extent of cyberbullying like Showore did to the president.
Which one is cyberbullying? Yeah. You have bring another.
No. Of course, the things he said on, the things he posted on X handle. I mean, calling our own dear president a criminal, is something that we should stand against.
It's unfortunate. I wouldn't have want to dive into it, but let's.
Yeah, but
let's call it spade a spade.
No, let's leave it
aside. Was there a forfeiture?
No, let's leave that aside, and then let's focus on.
Because if you go to that, I'm not in a court of law, but I can mention relative things that you can see that they are criminal in nature. For example, there was a forfeiture that is linked to our dear president with regards to narcotic things in the U.S. So that's on the
subject matter should be focused on directly, which is yesterday we've seen the position of the Islamic Affairs saying that what had been said by a cross-section of some Nigerians which have gotten to the ears of the U.S. and the U.S. has taken a stand declaring Nigeria a country of particular concern. It's not true, it's false.
What makes it false, you know? It's just like we are living in self-denial, and that self-denial is exposing us even more. You see, there's a particular habit of this particular animal they call ostrich. is one of the large, if not the largest bird on earth. But whenever he runs, he believes when he hides his head, the entire body is hidden. That's what we are doing. You don't hide your head, think that you have covered yourself, whereas the entire body is exposed. Was there killing? Yes. Was Christians being targeted? Yes.
Were Muslims killed?
Yes, but then,
good question.
But then, does it make sense for a responsible government? Maybe you are being accused that there's a Christian genocide or being killed. There are killings that are going on in Nigeria. We should be diplomatic enough in our engagement. It shouldn't be that they tell us that they are killing Christians. We come and say, yes, no, not only Christians, so they are killing even non-Christians, so they are killing everybody. Meaning that, I don't know the prism of response. You understand? But then, those that are killing, you have never seen them on record going, killing people, shouting hallelujah, praise God. You and I know what they shout. You and I know the kind of paraphernalia, the kind of clothes they wear, the language they use. So we cannot be living in self-denial. What I expect from Islamic Council is to close ranks. What I expect federal government of Nigeria is to close ranks and not to begin to, yes, they kill one, but it's no more than one. They kill up to 3. If you add those 3, it includes non-Christians, Muslims, Hindus, tradition. It doesn't make sense. You're escalating it. What I expect is to close rank. How do you close rank? You organize programs where all faiths will come together. Interfaith programs. Once they finish, they come out with a strong communique showing religious tolerance. There's no discrimination. By so doing, they will establish do you know what it takes to save life? Starting from childbirth. Go to hospitals. See efforts doctors and nurses put in place just to save a child, to give birth to a child. You see it even play at up to 100 years old man or woman. You see the effort they put in hospitals just to save one. But in this country, we will lose 200, lose hundreds, and we'll move on like nothing is happening. We behave like that is a way of life.
Okay, now let's come back. Some of these terrorists, some of them are known. Yeah, because
very known, very well known.
There's negotiation,
and they take pictures. They have handshake.
Some of them down tool, handshake too, and we have seen at different time the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, coming out publicly to say that these guys are negotiating with government, and that is why you see that.
You are talking about the former. We have current governors and state governments that are engaging them.
Yeah. So how did we get to that?
Because I will tell you something. Sometime around 2018 or thereabout, 2018, 2019 or 2018, 2019 thereabout, JAMB lost their staffs to these criminals somewhere in Kogi while they were on their way to Ibadan for official function. They rely on the security agencies to rescue. It took almost weeks until they begin to devise means to rescue their own. That means they devise to rescue is to pay ransom. I was one of the 2 persons that helped to do that intervention in Kaduna. Getting to that place, the criminals I met in the bush just to see how we will rescue these guys. The leader there was being referred to as a bull or something like that. Young man wearing knicker with RPGs and guns. I was already wearing on my knicker. And they said that, don't be afraid. The guns you see us carrying, we don't have money to buy it. Those in the office, those in Abuja that gave us.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. This one is not what they say. You understand what I'm saying? This one is encounter. So if one begins to put it like these guys are abstract, it doesn't make any sense. Communities know where they are. If the likes of Sheikh Gumi can be engaging them, making interventions for them, willing to lead. In fact, under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, they choose late former President Muhammad Buhari to speak for them.
He declined.
So they are not ghosts. So what makes people to begin to negotiate? Because they have seen that the government is weak. They are seen maybe they can't trust government for, take for example, the killing of over 200 in Yelewata. Is this something you can do under 5-6 hours? For such level of genocide, ethnic cleansing to take place without any intervention, without one of those criminals being killed or arrested, it shows you that they're accomplice.
Okay, so
it shows that they're accomplice.
Also, because I stand to be corrected.
You see, it was head of state Abacha that said that for a crime to last more than 24 hours means just.
And that was when the population of Nigeria was 80 million.
Do you know the population of Nigeria today?
No, I'm talking about as at the time he made that comment.
But as at today, you don't know. We are still allegedly claiming up to 200 million.
And that is what you get when politicians are telling you, vote for me, if I come on board, I'll do ABC, without necessarily checking the books, checking the population vis-a-vis the revenue generated annually. So most time when they now come on board, they discover that it's not actually what they thought. You understand? And so at the time he made that comment, we're not this much. You understand?
I don't think
our
the population is the
border
problem.
was not this porous.
I don't think population is the problem.
No, it is.
Population should be our strong point. It should be advantageous to us. It should be our stronghold. It should be our strength. That because we are lacking a very responsible leadership over the years that are honest and selfless. That is why we are where we are. Take for example, in the history of Nigeria, 1999 to 2023, Nigerian governments have been borrowing. And most of their borrowing, they claim, is for the payment of subsidy. True. In 2023, at the inauguration of this current administration, our president declared subsidy is gone. Meaning that if we are to borrow, we are not borrowing for subsidy again. So most of the things that push us into borrowing is to subsidize fuel. Now we are not borrowing. We are not subsidizing fuel. We have borrowed more than those people that borrow to subsidize fuel.
But
now, take for example, 2025 budget alone. You know that even as we in 2020, they are still working with the 2024 budget. If you are coming to tell Nigerians that you have exceeded your expectations, say for example, I want to make 10 naira before the end of 2025, and around August you are making almost 20 naira, meaning that you have exceeded expectations. What is leading us into borrowing more?
Okay, I think there are aspects that many people still don't understand when it comes to money generated and shared among the federal government, state, and local government, right? It is true that he removed subsidies. It's also true that these monies are coming, they are coming in huge volumes. But every month, they must gather in the Federal Ministry of Finance to share it.
They have been gathering now.
No, listen. So which means that what we expected, what you expected, is that because it has been removed, there will be too much of money for the center to play with. So anyway, let's move on.
There has always been money. What is the percentage being government and the state?
Now, moving on. Over the years, we have seen how much goes to the defense in terms of allocation to tackle insecurity. Since 2010, to be precise. And it appears the bad guys still regroup and, give them assignment. What do you think can be done to completely address this issue now that even the president has come out to say he will defeat terrorists?
I think the best way to defeat terrorism or terrorists in Nigeria as of today is for us to restructure this country. You see, we have been in a government
restructuring is not an argument that...
I'm coming. You ask a question. Let me just establish.
That's true.
You know, like I said, it's restructured because that restructuring will give room to state policing and other sub-military usage. Where everything will be centered in Abuja. You can't really dictate, for example, you answer chief security officer of your state as executive governor, but you cannot command your CP, your commissioner of police, or any commandant there. You will be saying right, they will be saying left. As a governor, you'll be presenting one report. Something happened around 2017 in Akwa Ibom. Then the governor there was Emmanuel Odom. He arrested some criminals with AK-47. He did parading of them, read out. As a governor, sitting governor, he said that less than 2, 3 days, the same people were released and given guns back. In his state of Akwa Ibom, he got to tell you that for us to tackle issue of security, we need to unbundle a lot of things in our constitution. We must restructure. So it's not issue. It was under President Muhammadu Buhari that he said he's relocating all his service chiefs to Northeast. And in order to, they do political yahoo to Nigerians. Those service chiefs came back with one black flag, handing it over to him that they have defeated Boko Haram. And up to date, they are still killing. The same way some of his ministers did global yahoo and painted Ethiopian Airlines in Nigeria. And they carry water, wash it. Everybody celebrated. Cameraman snap. The same day, the plane went back. The same yahoo they did in Abuja, carry rice pyramid. How many I go mention? So, sincerity or purpose. As the man at the center, maybe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he may have a very good intention, that political will and determination, but he cannot be in Abuja and be in Borno and be in Port Harcourt and be in Lagos at the same time. He will send people. He can trust as much as he can, but I think if we restructure it, and have state police. And so, okay, police your zone, just as we're doing it with you say education is haram, you say whatever it is, people should not go to school or whatever, and your government, you people like it. It should guide you people. It shouldn't be forced down on others. If in my own area, for example, we have Child Right Act, that makes it a right for every child to be in school, that makes it a right for every child to have shelter, that makes it a right to give a lot of rights to children. And that same child right we are domesticated in almost all the 18 states in the southern region of Nigeria. But not the same thing with the north, where they see a child that is up to 18 years, from 18 years above as an adult. So you cannot give a child less than 18 years to had a marriage for girl child. But in other northern side, it's not the same. In a situation where you have criminal acts, AJA, as a tool that you use to prosecute criminals, and in the upper there you have penal code that give different interpretation to things. How can you work? How can you say you are fighting security in that system?
Yeah, so
when you also have a justice system that takes years to even finish indicted or suspects that has been charged to court. How can you finish?
Okay, now way forward. How can this issue be arrested to prevent the U.S. government from entering Nigeria?
First and foremost, I think the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking massive steps, using diplomatic means to engage. You understand? So it's a thumbs up because he's a man that I've shown to learn and but my prayers, he shouldn't be reactive again. He should be proactive. He should, if it's possible for him to, you know, reshuffle those he has as his advisors that are good in twisting, you know, or create divisive mechanism than using languages that are supposed to be just more. Like a person of Daniel Bwala, who visited Khan, when he left,
And
he twisted the discussion. You understand? State escalations. I think we need to engage seasoned diplomats that are still alive no matter their age. You understand? To be on board and then see best way to engage U.S. government, letting them know that they are taking, showing them examples of what they are doing. If they just like advice that they should request from the U.S. government at least a minimum of 90 days to address the situation. In addressing the situation, we need the president or service to lead from the front. It shouldn't be that they will be in Abuja blowing siren, stopping movement of oh my God. The Atene leader, they enter, I think, Olufale's farms. You understand? You Achilles. They were doing it. In the same situation in North West, in the West, but not for his courageous leadership. Galvanize the potential of other southwestern states to form such a thing, which those in the southeast are struggling with, which gave room to issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and his ESN, because a vacuum cannot exist without something being inside there. You saw them setting up Ebubago. From Ebubago, there's no state in the south, it doesn't have one name they call their own. And you still see your known government raging havoc there because they have not been together to be in a frontal fight, just like we have in the southwest. So I think regional government, we have a lot to do. And that's the only way to fight terrorism.
I must thank you for your time with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, Be White has been with a human rights activist, Comrade Gerard Kachi, speaking on ways Nigerians can be able to face what we have at hand and prevent the U.S. government from entering. Once again, thank you, Kachi.
Thank you for having
me.
And
this is where we wrap up the discussion here in Abuja Network Center. We now move to the Lagos Network Center for continuation of the program.
A beautiful day, a beautiful Monday morning. Hello and welcome to TMI. This morning on ITV from Lagos. Thank you so much for staying with us. All right, this beautiful morning, I am Marcelina Unko, and of course we have I have Patricia Gebres here with me this morning. Hi, Mama.
Hi. Hi, Mercy. Good morning and thank you for joining us on TMI this Monday morning. You can actually watch us on GoTV 140, start time 1:30, and UHF Abuja 44, UHF Benin 22. You can leave your comments and of course our YouTube page. Thank you for joining.
All right. This beautiful morning on TMI. Our guest that will be helping us analyze topics, Ms. Prince Adegberu Nuruddin. He is a political analyst. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning.
Okay, this morning is, we're talking Anambra 2025 governorship, included governorship elect votes buying. So it's the incumbent, the 15 candidates carrying over one vote across 21 Met. Soludo was true performance all in and murdered rivals. Ukachi had 1,006 in total. Ukachiko of APC gathered 99,445 votes. Several observers and stakeholders, political parties, have said that voters were being offered monetary inducement to vote for a specific candidate. Even Peter Obi said it, that, you know, with 20,000, 30,000, that they were actually, you know, giving the voters to vote for a particular other personal politics. They said that as well. And INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amopitan, declared a zero-tolerance policy for vote buying and worked with security agency to enforce it. That was what he said. And also he made mention that it warns political parties that henceforth there would be consequences for political shenanigans. All those people, every shenanigans from the political aspect, that there would be consequences for it. And a lot of speculations are saying that, okay, now that APGA Soludo won this particular election, what is the fate of APC and PDP for the forthcoming 2027 election? Mr. Prince Nuruddin, Governor Soludo just won for the just concluded Anambra 2025 election, governorship election. How significant is this victory for the state and for APGA as a party?
Well, it is significant for APGA and the state, at least. The state, the governor is going to be in charge of the state for another 4 years. But how he won is a thing of concern. How he won is a thing of concern. Number one, an election that is characterized with vote buying. Thank God, then militarization of the police officers, because it's like the police officers are even more than, or let's say 50% of total number of votes received by the winner. So that kind of election where everybody is involved, especially the major political parties in that particular set. But by the time you are looking at it, we want to look at it that if when people said overwhelming vote, we say overvote because 100,000.
Sorry, I want us to quickly see the video of him, you know, celebrating while he won. There's this particular video while he was celebrating, and people were actually happy that he won. Let's take a look at the video before we continue. Interesting. What is your take on that?
To me, because when politician wins election, what I look at the processes, an election that a lot of vote buying. In fact, I don't know, there are some certain voters that are so cheap to the extent of collecting 1,000 and one mortar drink, 1,000, some 500. The highest is 30,000, and those ones are the competitive area. And when you look at the total number of registered voters in Anambra, and look at the numbers by the winner. So when you have in Anambra State, when you have 422,664 voters returning a governor, these particular numbers up to the population of total number of people in one local government. Let's just say Orumba alone, So what it means is this: Nigerians are not ready for this democracy, because when people don't go out and vote, automatically what it means, minority are the one that are going to be electing people to the place of authority. Another thing again is this: Soludo should see this. He has won. He has won. We don't know if other people are going to go to the tribunal. But irrespective of that, you should be able to know this is another 4 years to cater for the people of Anambra, and not that he has done extremely well. If you look at the pedigree of Soludo and what he has done within 4 years in Anambra, I can tell you he's fell short of the expectation away from people, and that is the reason why he needs to use this 4 years, do another wonderful people. If anything did not happen at the tribunal, you should try to serve the people. We want to see much of health care facilities, much road in Anambra, and at the same time, he has not tapped entrepreneurship skills. Resident of Anambra, you are billionaire, both entrepreneurs, then you should know that Anambra, you cannot just push them aside. He needs to tap from there.
Okay, Mr. Nuruddin, thank you. He needs to tap into the entrepreneurship Anambra people. Let's the result of this just conclude. APGA had 264, C had 99.5, UP 87, Labour Party has 10,576, ADC, that's where I'm going to, has 8,208. PDP is far behind with 1,401. Now the ADC, the African Democratic Congress, has expressed dissatisfaction, saying the election was heavily monetized process. How true do you think this is? Of course, we saw that some people were arrested, allegedly. We're not sure yet, but they were tagged to be the APGA members. Another question for you, just to add up to that, is after the, let's assume it wasn't rigged, the election wasn't rigged, the man won the process. What would you say helped him? Would you say zoning, weak opposition, or the APGA effect? Because, of course, Anambra State is APGA, and nobody's going to take that away from them. Do you think that effect also helped him to win?
One thing there is this. Those people arrested is not only APGA voters or supporters. It cut across. It's just that those ones, you know, there is a kind of adage in local parlance that everybody is a thief. Only those people that are arrested are the robbers. So, and that is the thing. It is evident. The election in Anambra, vote buying characterized the whole election. So nobody can even doubt. The major parties paid. The one that some people are saying major parties, they paid. Because we have a lot of correspondents, we have a lot of journalists that reported that. It's just that those people arrested are the one that's going to be paraded, and that is the thing. But if that one is going to now make election to be overturned, that one is left for the court. And looking at how he won, look, if you look at that numbers, this is not type of election we want to be seeing. I'm telling you, with the numbers that return them, it's not good enough. But when you look at the movement of all the political parties, look, every election is a process, and you can't use that process to cumulate it to another process. For the fact that APGA wins in Anambra does not mean they are going to win in Osun. Every of the activities is different. They are not related. That one is one. Then another thing again is that one of the things that paved way for APGA is of three things. Number one, see, APGA is a symbol of Odumegwu Ojukwu, and it still stands as at today in Anambra. That is the only thing they. And if you look at all those people they call nationalists, it's the only one that the party still remains till date.
Yes.
Where is the party that formed by Awolowo? Where is the one by Nnamdi Azikiwe? So they still take it as a kind of entity that they can joke with. That one is one. Then two, Soludo is so lucky because he has had a pact with the president. Don't forget that he said that his own party will not feed a candidate that is going to support a presidential candidate of APC who happens to the president in 2027. So that one also is another thing. Who says that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu could not say, okay, don't let us worry. If you look at the way APC governorship candidate emerge, you will know that how many governors turn up. You know, it is a culture in APC. If they are going for governorship election, you see other governors they will play a day before that election. Did you see them in Anambra? So who knows that they can say, okay, since you are going to scratch my back at the coming presidential election, then I will make sure it's so easy. Then another thing again is the issue of zoning. Look, one of the things that every state should be emulating from Anambra is that issue of zoning. It's not that they sat down and wrote an agreement, or no. But they just discovered that moving the governorship seats to different senatorial districts is going to really harmonize them. From Peter Obi era down to this, and it's really working. Let's see if now they are going to go to the central and see, and look at the way it's going. If it can go like that, I'm very, very sure those people in Otupa, in Benue State, they will be very happy because they are a kind of a part in that particular state of Benue that they've never been a governor. So, but there are a lot of states that marginalization is really going. It's just like Oku, somebody from Oku in Kogi who want to be a governor in Kogi. How is he going to do it? When you have those people that are the most populated, Igwira is second, and they will never think. But if they can be taking it around in that senatorial district, it means that every senatorial district is going to produce a governor as one time. I need to give it to the politicians in Anambra.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about the INEC chairman, Joash Amopitan. This is actually his first election. Him being on sits is his first election. What would you have to say? Would you say it's fair? Because a lot of persons have been saying that the fact that APC is not there, PDP is not there, APGA won this election. Would you say it's fair with his judgment? So,
you see, the way politicians think about election is different from the way ordinary Nigerians would think.
Okay.
For the fact that APGA wins does not mean the election is perfect. It's not perfect. After all, one is vote buying. Police officers are more than total number of votes. It's not, in fact, more than half of the votes secured by Soludo. If police officers, the number of police officers in that particular election. But one thing there is this. We cannot attribute these elections to Amopitan because he has no hand in it. In fact, he's not even the returning officer. But one that I think has improved in this election is that the turning of the ad hoc staff, they came very early. If we can have 98, 95, 98% coming earlier than 8 a.m., it shows something. But the issue of malfunctioning of their machine that makes sure that a lot of people came to several polling units, they cannot vote because the machine cannot recognize them. Is what it needs to. Then another thing, especially those people that just registered few months to the election, the machine cannot capture them, or they could not see their names on the list. It needs to work on that. Another thing again is this. I think in Anambra, needs to investigate so that it can now look forward to what is going to happen. I can tell him he needs to work with a lot of INEC staff. Some of them, they are more political than the politicians. Mr. Nuruddin, APGA at this point continues to dominate Anambra politics. While other political parties like APC and PDP
opposition parties face to connect with voters in Anambra State?
One of the things there is I've said it, the issue of is another thing very, very big. Don't let us deceive ourselves. It's very, very big. The CC is an icon. In Anambra also, so that we can hold jobs for youth and whoever that is doing that piece practically is a way to make sure that a lot of investment set in the state and the youth are going to be welcomed. Another thing again is this, that it needs to on. I discovered that one of the things you can take from Anambra is a kind of inherent business ideas. How come it can make more billionaires? How can you do it? Those ones that are in, how can you support them at the small scale? Let them be with a lot of things that the youth will know it. Then Anambra is of business.
Okay, Rodin, we're going to go back to the vote buying, which some people see as influencing, but we see it as vote buying here in Nigeria because it remains a big problem, and the 2027 election is drawing closer. That's why I'm hammering on it. I want to find out, do other countries in the Western world, do they do vote buying, or is just a Nigeria thing?
Well, it's not a Nigeria thing alone, but our own is totally different. Totally. There is no influence. We've seen it even in now. We've seen it, I did it now. But it's different from vote buying. Our own, we call it dibokose and cook soup. I see that soup is what you are going to eat for 4 years. It is a charade. A situation in which your civic duty, you have to be paid to do it. In fact, in Anambra, one of the things that was the reason I said I use that word cheap, that there are some certain voters that are cheap, not all voters. That they are the one even calling the politicians. If you don't pay me, I will not vote for your party.
Okay, so that's going to bring me to this question. Do you think it's because the politicians have made them so poor that they want to, collect such peanuts? Because you cannot sell your vote with such peanuts. Like you said, it's been done in America to bribe them. Sometimes we see when the candidates just go to drop some packs at their doorsteps. But we come out here to call the politicians to come and give us. Do you think it's a pop the politicians to impoverish the citizens so they can,
vote buying has come to stay in politics. Don't let us deceive ourselves. How many politicians in Nigeria can win without vote buying and rigging? How many? They are used to it. They have the way of doing vote buying. How come that before the election, 48 hours to election, what is Bulova doing in every state? What in their own state and go to another place taking place? What are they going there to with helicopter? And that is the problem. What are they spending money for a day to election, on the day of election? What there is that our politicians have captured us in Nigeria. They make sure some people to be able to pour that the food that you cannot eat for 4 years, don't worry, on that day you cook soup. After that cooking soup for that day, automatically you suffer for another 4 years. And that is the thinking that every Nigerian should do. Whatever any money you are collecting from politicians to vote for them, you are going to suffer for it for 4 years. People system and whatever, or regular, don't need to be paid. But one thing there is this: the way we are going in 2027, we are going to see a bigger of vote buying. I'm telling you. So if a state as Anambra, that the election don't supposed to be as competitive as this, will have this high level of vote buying. Automatically, in a period where you are going to have about 34, 33 governorship election and presidential national assembly, I'm telling you what there is. Anybody that paid you to vote for that to vote for you, or if somebody paid you that you should vote for them, you should be able, that person has nothing good to offer to you.
You made mention about, you said that votes buying can never stop in this
Can
country.
never stop.
Even the fact that the INEC chairman with this whole Anambra stuff,
he doesn't even have constitutional rights. How many of those that have been prosecuted? He doesn't have those. Is it INEC that is still looking for lawyers that is going to be part of the members going to prosecute the case?
But he just came out to say that any politician,
that one is for the camera. It's for the cameras. How come that INEC did not speak when Charles Oludo was telling members of his party that any one of them that mobilized for them to win the election are going to give? That one is also vote influencing, whatever. He needs to speak to that. That is not good, so that every other governor is not going to be doing that. But one thing that is there is that INEC does not have that capacity. I think it's important.
So what you're saying is that
we should have an agency. We should have an agency that will tackle that, or police that will have tackled that. Okay, let me give you an example. A park correspondent that reports for one particular station in the Anambra election told me that, in fact, when they get to a place, they are moving the material out. The food will just come. Well packed food they will give to everybody. Police officer they are giving to everybody. Did police officer ask where the food is coming from? Is it coming from IG?
Okay, that brings me to the police people. You know, before the election, we found out that 60,000 police officers were deployed to Anambra State. Don't you think that would have been too much a number for one state?
Don't let us deceive ourselves. That one is always to the camera. I can beat my chest, and anybody in Nigeria can contest it. Our police officers is not up to 350,000 in Nigeria. So, where did they want to see 60,000 to mobilize? Let me break the 350. That 350, I just put that 350. Some people have resigned, though. Some people have been sent away. Some people have jacked out. Unless 3,000 feet and person.
Threatening up gas.
Less pressure when you are not contesting, and you are assisting those who are contesting. So it's going to be on the relaxed mode. So it's a way of dipping, but it now depends on how he performed, in his own within 2027. It's going to determine if those people in that, because governorship election is different from presidential election. It's different from national election. That's why you see that in Oyo in the last election, Senate were won by APC. Governor was won by PDP in Oyo State. You understand now? House of Assembly majorly were won by the PDP. How come that APC won presidential, APC won the senatorial, they don't win the House of Assembly and governorship? That's to tell you that every is different. No matter maybe, even if the election is taking place, they are two different.
Just before Mr. Nuruddin, because our time is up, see these other places, some of the polls going to come.
The one of APC is looking like that, but I don't know what they want to go to the. Although fact is that election was characterized by vote buying. But if the leader of your party a national leader of the president of the country, he has congratulated the way that is the ambition time why it means, but that is the fundamental right of every governorship candidate to go to court.
Mr. Nuruddin, I was having a conversation yesterday with a friend, and he said that the fact that the president congratulated Soludo for this win. Do you see him defecting soon? Because we're saying, oh, he's going to defect to APC soon.
He won't. If he knows politics, he won't. But that does not mean that a president congratulates everybody. Either it's his party or it's not his party. But that Soludo is a political suicider if he tries it. And I can tell you, if he tried it before 2007 election, he should forget it. National Assembly, State Assembly, Abga should forget it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Nuruddin, for helping us analyze this particular topic. Patricia?
Thank you, Mr. Nuruddin, for coming as usual and making it clear to us. One word for the politicians.
The politicians there is you are there to serve people. You are there to serve people. Where are our nationalists today? Tafawa Balewa, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Sardauna of Sokoto, Tafawa Balewa. Where are they today? You are going to be history too.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nuruddin. Thank you all our viewers for joining us this beautiful morning from our Lagos Network studio on TMI. We're still on TMI. Do stay tuned for the continuation as we hand over to Benin for the continuation on TMI. I am Restelina Umko. Do stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning and welcome to ITV News Updates. I am Chukufumnanya Digwe. Now, Governor Monday Okpebholo's commitment to uplifting the oil and gas producing local government areas in Edo State has been described as commendable. This was the consensus of natives of Ovia Northeast local government area during the project's monitoring tour undertaken by Edso Padek, led by Honorable Francis Society, which they say are transforming the lives of the people. Efosa Wangwe has details.
The natives applauded Governor Okpebholo for keeping his promise to developing the oil-producing areas and prioritizing infrastructure development in Ovia Northeast local government area. They also appreciated the governor for improving road networks, market access, and community facilities. The people also time out to appreciate ESOPADEC members led by Honorable Francis Society Osaboye and his leadership style in driving development, stressing that the Commission's effort in executing projects that benefit the communities deserve commendation. ESOPADEC says the transformation of the locality with impactful projects remains its utmost goal.
The governor of the state, Senator Monday Okpebholo, visited this road, and the people begged him to please complete this road, and he gave us a marching order. Within the shortest possible time, we should make up the road to the Akure road. to enable the residents of Ekadolo access the road to Akure Road. The road is completed, but some section of it, which is the adjoining street of Ekadolo, is still ongoing.
Some of the projects are completion of 4-kilometer Benin-Lagos Ekadolo Iguhimi Akure Road, the ongoing rehabilitation of 2.8-kilometer Emma Okoho Road, construction of 1.15-kilometer Okoho Market Road, 1.73-kilometer Edosowa Street development in Oluku community, 20 open market stores and 40 lock-up stores at Yobu community. Other members of the commission were also part of the tour. These are testimonies that Governor Okpebholo's vision and the Superdeck's dedication are attracting progress and prosperity to Ovia North East local government area and other oil-producing local government areas. From Benin, Efosa Owangwe, ITV News.
And now in a religious report. The spiritual leader of Christ Chosen Church of God International, Senior Apostle David Unuefe, has advised believers in Christ to remain faithful in God despite challenges in the country. He made the remarks during his visit to Enya Division of Christ Chosen Church of God International. Osemu Diame Osaige has details.
Members of Christ Chosen Church of God International, Enya Division, were excited with the presence of the spiritual leader. Senior Apostle David Unuefe said there is no looking back on the road to the kingdom of God. He encouraged the congregation of ministers, their wives, counselors, choristers, and members who gathered to welcome him. Senior Apostle Unuefe reminded the congregation that there must be no turning back because what awaits true believers in heaven is far more precious than gold. He concluded by encouraging the faithful to remain steadfast and focused, trusting that their perseverance will be rewarded in the eternal kingdom of God.
Some of us are indebted to God that even what you're supposed to do, not do it may affect your children. They will say, hey, when I not pay, oh yeah, copy. I'm on your home. I am my home. That's why you should all stand well right now and know and do the will of God when you are alive. Because close your ears to side talk. My God is the God of truth. Now I get every single day from this world. Close your ears to every side talk. Dissenting. That is deceiving voices around. So I can seek God in action. I say to you, as you will listen to the voice of God and do what God says you should do for him, you shall never be indebted to anybody. Amen. Christ Chosen Church of God, one big family.
From Benin, Osemu Diame Osaige, ITV News.
Now, it was a day of jubilation and spiritual fulfillment over the weekend as Blessed Truth Tabernacle Ministry, located at 14 Ogefo Street off Jesus Christ Road, Upper Sakbomba in Ipoba Oka local government area, Edo State, celebrated the dedication of its newly completed ultra-modern worship center. The historic ceremony, which marks a significant milestone in the ministry's 20-year journey, was officiated by the senior pastor of Omega Fire Ministry, Apostle Johnson Suneman. Donald Amier reports.
Dedicating the ultramodern church building unto God, Apostle Joseph Suleiman offered prayers and proclamations of continuous spiritual growth, expansion of vision, and divine establishment of the ministry's mandate. The presence of the senior pastor of Mega Fire Ministries and now minister of the gospel demonstrated his role as spiritual mentor to the host pastor and celebrant, Reverend S.A. Ewere, and other clergymen under his ministerial fellowship, known as Sons of the Prophet.
We decree that the blind will see here, the dead will rise, the barren will be fruitful.
Delivering a sermon at the ceremony, Chairman Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Ibobaka Chapter, Pastor Nat Idahosa, underscored the faithfulness of God in fulfilling promises in due time. In their remarks, the senior pastor of Blessed Truth Tabernacle Ministry, Reverend S.A. Ewere, and his wife, Pastor Mrs. Benedicta Ewere, expressed heartfelt gratitude to God and all who contributed to the realization of the church complex.
We trust heaven that as my father came to the Gates Church, that greater things are going to happen in the life and destiny of the people.
This ministry is moving to a new level because of the grace that came to town to dedicate the church. That is my confidence.
Assistant Pastor of Blessed Truth Tabernacle Ministry, Pastor Lucky Akmawene, and some invited ministers of God commended the architectural beauty of the new structure, describing it as a place of true worship and beacon of hope in Christendom.
The next move and the next phase of this ministry.
Everyone that were part of it should see it as an encounter and take advantage of it, and I see greater things ahead.
Everybody is happy to the praise and to the glory of God.
Earlier, Apostle Suleiman laid the foundation for a school building within the church premises, which possesses the ministry's all-round growth. From Benin, Donald ITV News.
In another religious report, the importance of returning thanks to God for his unwavering support and blessings throughout the year took center stage during the annual Harvest Thanksgiving service at the headquarters of the United Baptist Church, Benin City. The event, with the theme, Harvest of the Fullness of God's Blessing, brought together members, church leaders, and esteemed guests, including members of the Benin royal family and notable families. Joy Obaisiagbon reports.
The Archbishop of the Church, Most Reverend Dr. Osama Oswanlili, in his sermon urged the congregation to give thanks to God at all times, irrespective of any situation they find themselves.
Another instruction or commandment, but every man according as he proposeth in his heart, so let necessity he is giving because it is for the word of God. And in doing this, Saint God himself loves the cheerful giver. So back to our harvest, he has blessed you with, and then he presents it to him at his altar. When you do this, you recognize God's sovereignty and authority over your life.
Members danced to the altar, offering tribute to God with farm produce such as tubers of yam, bunch of plantains, gari, and other Thanksgiving items.
They will not die young. Amen. Long life will be their portion. Amen. We fill their hearts with joy.
Church members and leaders expressed appreciation for God's faithfulness.
God has already started demonstrating his power of blessings, of goodness, of kindness, of love, of favor upon all of us.
I thank God for a very, very successful harvest. Probably the best I've had for the last.
We have come to render thanks to God for his goodness. So we are indeed grateful to God for his faithfulness in our lives.
From Benin, Joy Obaisiagbon, ITV News.
Moving on, Group Pastor of Christ Embassy, New Benin, Pastor Atibi Brown, on Saturday marked his 60th birthday and retirement from active service in grand style. The event, which held at Christ Embassy New Benin Group EBA, drew members, family, clergy, and friends who described Pastor Brown as a dedicated servant of God, whose leadership has greatly strengthened the spiritual growth of many. Donald Damie has details.
It was a historic moment as members of Christ Embassy New Benin Group, EVA, family members, guests and associates of Pastor Joseph Atibi Brown converged in large numbers to celebrate his 60th birthday and retirement from active service. The renowned clergyman joined well-wishers to offer thanks to God for the double celebration. sermon, the Senior Pastor of Christ Embassy UK Zone 1, Pastor Tony Adoroja, emphasized the power of thanksgiving and lighted Pastor Brown's consistency in ministry. He described him as a faithful servant whose life of faith has inspired many within and beyond the church. The Thanksgiving section was conducted by the Senior Pastor of Christ Embassy Benin Zone 1, Pastor Moses Olayemi. The celebration later transitioned into a colorful reception where tributes poured in from members, family, and associates who extolled the celebrant's mentorship, humility, and spiritual leadership qualities.
Appreciate our senior pastors here. Our esteemed Pastor Moses Olayemi is here. Pastor Tony Adoroja, welcome, sir.
As my husband celebrates his 60th birthday, I believe that it's a new chapter that is unfolding. And I know that it's going to be a sweeter one for him.
I wish him well, good health. He's always a joyful person.
I wish him all the best. Life has got to offer. And I know that he's going to grow from strength to strength.
A very unique human being, inspirational individual.
The high point of the event was the cutting of the cake to mark the double celebration. From Benin, Donald ITV News.
Now, a decade may have passed, but the memories of Pa Happy Day Edogogo Odiase remain as vibrant as ever. Loved ones and well-wishers came together to reflect on the life of a man whose principles and kindness continue to inspire. Gladys Ijamu completes the report.
It was an atmosphere of nostalgia, gratitude, and deep reflection as family, friends, and well-wishers gathered to celebrate the enduring legacy of Pa Happy Day Edogogo Odiase 10 years after his passing. The remembrance ceremony, held in honor of the late patriarch, brought together his children, relatives, community members, and associates who came to pay tribute to a man many described as a disciplinarian with a heart full of love. His children recounted how Pa Odiase lived an exemplary life, marked by humility, integrity, and compassion. They noted that while he was firm and principled, he was also deeply committed to the happiness and well-being of others. The gathering was both emotional and inspiring, a moment to celebrate the man who not only shaped their lives through discipline and wisdom, but also left a lasting legacy of service and kindness.
My dad is a very disciplined human being. I remember growing up, he's very strict.
Easygoing, loving father, never discriminated. I miss him. Such a wonderful father.
My dad is a lovely father. He's a caring father, a compassionate father.
Well-wishers and family friends who attended said Pa Happy Day Edogogo Odiase represented the true essence of family and community, describing him as a man whose values continue to guide and inspire those he left behind.
He's a great man. That's a man that he was diligent, courageous. He knows what it is to be a father.
He was a jolly good fellow. Uncle Happy Day was like disciplinarian. He taught us the life that we all are enjoying today.
Baba was a very nice man. Coming together and shows that the foundation of unity was strong.
10 years on, his memory remains fresh, his lessons enduring, and his legacy ever bright. A life well lived and fondly remembered. Gladys Ijamu, ITV News.
That's the end of the news update on ITV. I am Chukufumnanya Digwe. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Up next is TMI Socials. Good morning.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning once again and welcome. This is TMI Socials. I am Chukufumnanya Digwe, and here's what's making waves on the social media space. Now, in Anambra State, on 8th November 2025, Professor Charles Soludo, who is the incumbent governor of the state, the candidate of ABGA, secured a second term in what appears to be a landslide. 422,664 votes versus 99,445 votes for his closest rival, winning all 21 local government areas. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission says 5,908,229 voters were accredited and 5,084,054 valid votes were cast. While the process was largely peaceful and heavily secured, some observers flagged concerns of vote buying and equipment malfunctions. Now, there's a lot of conversation stemming from this one on social media space, some applauding the win of the Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo coming back for his second term, and others alleging vote buying. Now, let's see what reactions say as regards this particular story that has taken the social media space by storm. Our first comment. This comment actually from the winner himself, Chukwuma Charles Soludo, the incumbent and now re-elected governor of Anambra State. He says, "Thank you, Ndi Anambra. I can never express enough gratitude for your immense support on this jinx-breaking journey. Our promise remains firm and unwavering, and our resolve to fulfill grows even stronger by the day. The destination is a livable and prosperous, smart megacity, a homeland we can all be proud to live in, learn, work, relax, and enjoy. On this, we are laser focused and ready to shift into higher gear over the next 4 years. May Anambra continue to win." And that one comes from the winner of the election, Professor Charles Soludo himself. Now, this one from Bayo Onanuga, actually it's a State House press statement. President Tinubu Soludo re-election affirmation of his visionary leadership is the title of that post on X by the presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga. And it says, "I congratulate Professor Chukwuma Soludo on his re-election as the governor of Anambra State. The overwhelming victory he recorded in Saturday's poll has now made him the next governor of the state." That is what the statement reads in part. Let's get to see the next comment on this story. Reno Omokri says, "It is not just that Professor Charles Soludo won the hashtag Anambra Decides 2025. It is the extent of his win. It was so overwhelming, securing 422,664 votes out of a total 595,298 is a notable and impressive achievement. And again, it is not just that Peter Obi's Labour candidate, Dr. George Galu, lost the election. It is the extent of his rejection by the people of Anambra that is stunning." There goes Reno Omokri with his comments. Let's take this comment on X by Senator Shehu Sani. Senator Shehu Sani says, "Congratulations to Governor Charles Soludo. 4 more years for the Soludo solution." We see a lot of commentary congratulating the governor on this particular one. Mba in this comment says, "Everyone knew Soludo was going to win Anambra State elections. I really don't see any party taking that governorship from ABGA anytime soon." Well, those are the comments on the very resounding victory of the governor of Anambra State, coming in for his second tenure, talking about the person of Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo. And this is where we draw the curtain, not just on TMI socials, but on This Morning on ITV. And from the whole crew, I want to say a very big thank you to our viewership for staying tuned in, and also to our amazing guests for their in-depth and very insightful analysis on the program today. I am Chukwu from Nanya Digran from our Benin, Lagos and Abuja network centers. We say thank you once again, and do have yourself a lovely day ahead.
ITV, certainly the best.